The U.S. president, President Joe Biden, has dropped out of the race. Now, he is 81 years old. Just give it context. He'll be 82 in November. The whole issue of him stepping down, but continuing to be president. You know, some people are arguing that, well, if he can't run the election or the next election, should he be presiding over a country that's as central to the world's, the global conversation as America? Well, let me just quickly read what we have here on ChannelOneNews.com. President Joe Biden has dropped out of the 2024 race in a seismic decision sparked by a relentless campaign from Democrats demanding he drop out because of his cognitive decline and his dire chances against Donald Trump. Now, the 81-year-old stepped aside Sunday after facing weeks of questions over his fitness to serve following his disastrous presidential debate performance that sparked a series of fumbles he could not recover from. His historic move comes after a 50-year career in politics that culminated in the White House. Now, Democrats must race to shore up their campaign behind a new nominee with less than 4 months till voting day. It has been an honor of my life to serve as your president, Biden wrote in the letter posted on his X account on Sunday. And let me just go quickly down to the bottom of the story. It says here, towards the last couple of paragraphs, Vice President Kamala Harris is reportedly furious she's not being considered, and others, including Trump. So this part here, I think, came just before the actual announcement that he had endorsed her. Okay, so we have speculations. Speculated that former First Lady Michelle Obama is among the list of replacements for the 2024 Democratic ticket. So what has happened is that Biden has endorsed Kamala Harris, but there's also talks in the background that possibly Michelle Obama may be also considered. But of course, they have to go. It has to go for a vote, before the decisions are made. Anyway, let me start with you.
Okay, thank you, Kweku, and once again, good morning to our viewers. Kweku, you see, the U.S. elections is quite, different from what we know in Ghana. If I'm to take us back to how their electoral system is, if you don't mind. The GOP, that's the Grand Old Party, is the second oldest party in the history of the U.S. elections. Fact,
also known as Republicans.
Yes. It was founded in 1954.
Okay.
That was some clear years when the Democratic Party was formed. The Democrats take pride in being the oldest party in the U.S., founded somewhere in 1828. Right. Biden, in particular, somewhere in 1988. Was the leading candidate to becoming the U.S. president, but for a simple mistake he made by plagiarizing the UK's Labour Party leader, Neil Kinnock.
Okay.
If I got the name right.
Okay.
He plagiarized his speech, and that alone took him off, and so he lost completely from there. It took him in excess of over 30 years before organizing himself to come back to the field, to contest.
Wow.
Thankfully, he was selected as the running mate by Obama, and then eventually becoming the presidential candidate for the Democrats. And then he won over Trump, in the last election. I mean, he's not performed so bad as one will have it. but clearly, as we speak, his age is not helping. At 81, almost 82, we are told that the doctor, the presidential doctor, has been visiting the White House in the last years about 4 times, checking for. They have this special term they have for that particular disease. I'm trying to get the word. So he seemed to be suffering from a particular disease.
Is it Alzheimer's?
I don't want to even talk of dementia or anything, but that is the case, you know, as far as the public is concerned. And so over the period, especially also with the recent presidential debate that was held, the president was not on top of issues. And you could tell that Trump, you know, was solely in charge, and that won the approval, in fact, of the majority of US. As we speak, whether they bring in Kamala or Hillary comes into the picture or Michelle Obama comes in, I'm afraid it looks like an impossible mission for the Democrats as we speak. The Republicans seem to be, as people would say in our local parlance, in the comfortable lead, cruising to victory. You understand? Yeah. But you see, the Electoral College of the U.S. is a bit some way. There are what is called the general vote, and then you also have the Electoral College. The Electoral College is made up of 538 electors. If one has to be a president, then it means that you have to secure no less than 270 of those electors, right? You remember in 2016 when Hillary contested Trump. You see, Hillary won. She won the majority of the popular vote, right? But when we got to the electors, the Electoral College decided and gave in excess of 300 votes to Trump. And that made Trump the president. In the same vein, definitely on Tuesday, the 5th of November, a similar exercise will happen. They will elect the Electoral College, the 538, and then they will do the general voting as well. So it does not matter if you win the general election, but if you are not able to win the Electoral College and secure in excess of 270, then I'm afraid you cannot. But in a scenario where you have the 270, 538, and you are still not getting the majority of votes, then it means that the House of Representatives would decide on who becomes the next president. So in a situation where there's a tie and we are unable to get a majority from the Electoral College, then the House of Representatives go to decide on who becomes the president. So it's a huge blow for the Democrats, and it's been coming. Some of us posted, weeks ago, somewhere last month, that it is possible for the president to resign from the re-election or contesting this year's election. And that is basically because even the senators and House of Representatives of his own party were calling for his head. And that basically is because of his, not being on top of issues, his age-wise and all of those stuff that culminated against him. So it looks like it's a lost fight for the Democrats, if you ask me. And Trump, by all standards, is clearly going to win both the Electoral College and
the popular vote.
Yes, the popular vote. And I'm sure when we come here somewhere on 6th or 7th of November, we will be discussing the outcomes of that election. And you and I will confirm this, before the year ends. So basically, that is my little thought on there.
All right, Kabete.
I think this decision was long overdue, but the power blindness, is not limited to any race, any nation, any continent. It's just escalated and, just a bit problematic in Africa. Look, I watched videos where President Biden fell down. He was actually climbing Air Force One with the world watching.
Yeah,
It wasn't just once, it wasn't twice. So it continued a little while, and I think, for a country like America, they have far-reaching medical expertise. So, I mean, I'm sure they knew this, Some of their own movies they show to us shows how they are well ahead of the world, So, I mean, for me, it will be difficult to accept on the part of America that they didn't know the situation of a man in question. Biden is a wonderful gentleman. He's actually paid his dues. One thing I always tell people is to know when to leave the stage.
The applause.
When the clap is loud and gets louder, when you take a bow, that's what you leave behind. That said, the main issues are that, he's stepping down. He's actually stepped down from contesting, and gradually he's moving towards the end of his tenure in office. What does that bring to the table? Who takes over is automatic. And by the arrangement, once there's a vice president, the person comes into the pool.
Yeah.
It will be a bit like problematic if you don't see the vice president as capable. He can even take over now and manage if he decides that actually
to step aside
because of for health reasons.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't come public, clearly it is realistic that you start thinking that she's the one who will be running the show because he might need some few days to rest. So I think Kamala is in a good
He's
pole.
even currently down with COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
So Kamala is in a good pole to take over. Then the question I ask is America ready?
For a lady president?
Yeah, because with Hillary in the poll the first time, you could clearly see that the conversation, and some gender activists were saying, oh, America is beyond gender, so that's the reason why. It was just because they were also not ready. But they were couching their own behind the scenes to tell us that, look, equity is in America already, so it's not a matter of a male against a female. They saw it more like two politicians, and they were basing it on issues. No, you cannot confuse me with that one. You cannot. You cannot. Even with the skin color. Yes, it took look, some of us were in Africa shouting. Look, when Barack won, some people thought in my area that I had lost it. Look, I drove around Lungwa with some, because it was time for the world to also know that, look, if you say it's this way, let's mix it up. So for here, it's a gender matter. Is America ready? That's a fact on the table. And it's going to be, the discussions around this time, as I predict, will be around gender, morality, and race. Because Kamala comes into the picture, it will be about her race. It will be about the morality, which Trump has taken a very big step and a wide gap on that morality issue. And then when it comes to the issue of gender, they will be hiding around the stage. But, we'll still, like I told you, I have my mind. And then the forward movement, it's late but important. He's taking a bold step to take this decision. Look, if you knew what also some presidents will be going through, because the power brokers are around them. They'll say, look, when you are the one I invested in, if you leave, the fact that they are in the same political party doesn't mean they think the same.
Yeah.
It can be a shift. And other business players might lose. So that's what will be at play. He has returned some votes to the Democrats. Because there were some votes that were like, look, they will be just angry because of you staying on. Especially the middle line voters, those swing voters.
Yeah.
When they can easily move. So this one will restore some, when a new fresh blood comes in. And then this age thing I told you, if there's a limit down there, the world must start thinking around it, especially Ghana.
Yeah.
Once there's an age limit down there that if you are not 40 years, you can't contest. There should be an upper limit.
Yeah.
That's why, scientifically.
I think it's very important because what we've done to ourselves is that we've capped, various things. So, for example, retirement age.
Yes,
so I'm asking myself, if you are not considered competent age-wise, to
Health-wise.
continue, not even health-wise, because you can be healthy late into your 80s, but age-wise, you're not considered to be, able to continue in public service. the most important public office is the presidency. Right. How is it that we've not been able to, we've not been able to say, okay, you know what, maybe we won't cap it at 60, but let's say maximum
at 70.
70 years done.
Well, that's fair.
You know,
because some doctors are allowed.
But there's no limit.
The framers of our constitution did not do us the honest at that angle.
But I think the review should consider that.
Yes, they were able to set the floor for us that you have to be 40 and above. But as to the ceiling where we can say this is the maximum limit beyond which you cannot be a president.
But I think maybe they looked at some ages around them, and then maybe they said, look, let's flash these ones out first. I think we are there now.
The only thing they helped us with is the number of terms a president can be in office. Right. So then the assumption is that perhaps you are 40, by 48, you are out.
You know, there was a discussion by President Kufuor some time ago about this increasing the years. I will still go with that school of thought for 5 years, but 1 term.
Okay.
You know, the second term thing locks the hand of that president, and then he wants to impress so that he will take over the next time again. Look, there are 30 million people here. Not all of us will be president, but a swap just after 1 term to punish one person well will teach lessons. I mean, my final 2 points on this matter is that he has reduced pressure on himself.
Oh yeah, yes. That's what that was.
Because you realize that, like you rightly read,
some
of the debates that my brother said, some of it you could see that the man was tired. Look, my father was 75 before he left this earth. I gauged, he lived with stroke for 27 years.
Okay.
That didn't show at some points. Between 70 and 75, you could see, I mean, after some time he sleeps. He'll be tired. That's the tiredness. Look at a 71. Look, when they go to pension, between 60 and 65, go and visit them again, you see.
Yeah.
I mean, that 5 years just brings them down like that.
Yeah.
And so at that age, look, you are tired. Nature has it that way. Let's respect that one. Finally, I think he has the ability to sit down now and work. You see, he was doing 2 things. So with the
divided
reduced
attention.
pressure, now you can look at the number 2 coming in front,
and
then giving the number 2 that blessing you want. But for America, I think, look, we wish them well. And the beacon of democracy, the beacon of hope, we are looking at them.
All right.
They should do something good for the world to see.
All right.